Live from New York, this is the Harvey Hour. Good to have you in on a Tuesday. My name's Nathan Harvey, and as always, I'm joined alongside my dad, Stephen Harvey. How are you doing on this Tuesday?
Happy to be here, Nate. Looking forward to the show.
We got a good show planned for you today. A lot of topics. We're covering a lot today, a lot of football. We have what went wrong, what went right coming up towards the end of the hour. So it's going to be a pretty big show today. We're talking a lot of quarterbacks, I would say. A lot of quarterback talk in today's episode of the Harvey Hour. So stay tuned, sit in, and enjoy. But let's begin with last night's game, because what a game it was. So, on a Will Lutz missed field goal, Bills get called for a 12-man on the field. And then obviously Will Lutz on attempt number 2 sinks it, which moves the Bills to 5-5, even farther behind the Miami Dolphins. And right now, currently, out of playoff contention. Now, today, there was a development. The Bills fired their offensive coordinator, Ken Dorsey, and is going to replace Ken Dorsey with quarterback coach Joe Brady to be their new interim offensive coordinator. I want to know. It's not looking too good. The Bills have lost won 2 out of the last 6 games. It's not good. And they very well could be 0-6 in their past 6 games if it weren't for 2 unlucky, or I should say lucky situations for the Bills. So right now, currently, are the Bills in danger of missing the playoffs?
Yes. And I think they made their chances of making the playoffs even less by firing Ken Dorsey. I think he was a scapegoat. They used him as a scapegoat. This whole issue was Josh Allen turning the ball over. He has 11 interceptions now. He had 4 fumbles this year. He gets all hyped up, and he goes out there and makes lots of mistakes. I think it's him. And now they promoted the quarterback's coach to be the offensive coordinator. He's just a young guy. He's only 34 years old. He spent his last 10 years in college coaching. He coached Joe Burrow at LSU, and he had 2 years as an offensive assistant in New Orleans. He doesn't have any experience as an offensive coordinator. Do you think Josh Allen's going to listen to him? I think they made a mistake. I don't think it was Ken Dorsey's fault. The statistics are good this year. It's just that Josh Allen keeps turning the ball over. That's the problem.
And that's how it actually has been for the past. Since 2018, Josh Allen has led the league in interceptions, and last season, first year without Brian Daboll, he leads the league in red zone interceptions. So he's literally taking points away from his own team in the red zone, throwing interceptions when his team desperately needs the points. I agree with you. I think Ken Dorsey was used as a scapegoat, but I can guarantee this. No coach is going to throw away 5 players that could be the problem. For instance, the New England Patriots could very well do that. You can get rid of about 8 guys on the offense and say, you're terrible, we're not going to play you.
Oh, I understand that. Why didn't they fire the special teams coach? He's the guy that had 12 players on the field.
You can't, over one mistake, I'm not sure I'm going to fire you for that.
Well, I mean, if you want a scapegoat, why would you pick the offensive coordinator? The guy has good stats. It's his quarterback that's turning the ball over. Do you think this young guy coming up to move into this situation is going to change Josh Allen's psyche at all? To calm him down a little bit and not make so many mistakes? I don't know.
Well,
That's the issue.
I'll say this.
I think that's the issue.
If you're a quarterback coach, I assume you know how to coach a quarterback. Josh Allen, at least arm strength-wise, he's a gunslinger. He's a guy who has extreme arm talent, but he's very careless with the football. If you're coaching that, if you're the quarterback coach, I guarantee you we're going to see some of the same type of Josh Allen situations and Josh Allen interceptions and turnovers throughout the rest of the year. And hell, I don't know if it's the best time to make a change right now because of the fact you have a very, very tough schedule. You play the Jets next week, which, you know what? You lost week 1, but I think that's just a crazy situation. That was a crazy week in week 1, just the entire situation surrounding that. Then you go play at Eagles. You have your bye then at Chiefs. You're home against the Cowboys, at Chargers, home against New England. You're probably going to lose that. And then at Miami. So you have a very, very tough schedule here. You'll probably win maybe 2 out of the rest of the remaining games here. And now you think it's a good idea to make changes? I agree with you. I think Ken Dorsey is being used as sort of a scapegoat here. But if you're a quarterback coach, and Josh Allen has looked very, very turnover prone, which he has his entire career, you think Joe Brady's going to make a massive difference?
I don't think so at all. I don't think he's going to make any difference. It could make it worse, actually.
I would say so as well. Yeah,
I mean, I don't think Josh Allen's going to listen to him. He's going to go out there and do just what he thinks he wants to do. He's going to get all hyped up, keep turning the ball over.
Right.
And that's going to lose games for the Bills.
I would agree with you. What I find very fascinating, I'm going to give credit to Tom Pelissero on Twitter here, or X. So the Bills have seen offensive slumps right now that we're in, and back in 2021, it was basically the same situation. Late in the year, they went 2-4. They were averaging barely over 22 points a game, 360 total yards per game. They had 13 takeaways on the year. This season, they're in a 6-game slump. Won 2 out of the last 6 games. They're averaging a little bit over 20 points a game, 356.2 yards total offense per game, and then you have 13 takeaways. By the way, those 13 takeaways in 2021 and 2023 both led in the NFL. Both were most in the NFL. So we've seen the Bills go into these offensive slumps, except one turned out to be great, at least in the playoffs, and now it's a huge unknown. We're seeing with now Joe Brady as the interim offensive coordinator. So we've already seen this, and I'm going to say right now, we've talked about the turmoil, right, with Stefon Diggs in the playoff game yelling at Josh Allen and seeming really disappointed. We heard, little inklings in the offseason of Stefon Diggs being upset with Josh Allen and Josh Allen brushing that off, saying, you know what, we haven't even played a singular game. Trevon Diggs, brother of Stefon Diggs, went on Twitter last night, and this is what he said. Man, 14, got to get up out there, talking about his brother. And not only that, 11 hours later, he decides to tweet. Let's not forget, he didn't start, meaning Josh Allen, he didn't start going off till bro got there. So not only is he calling out Stefon Diggs to get up on out there, he's calling out Josh Allen saying, you're basically a scrub without Stefon Diggs.
Yeah.
This is bad.
Stefon Diggs has good stats.
Absolutely. Since I believe since 2020, he's the second most targeted receiver and first in reception since 2020.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's not getting production. It's not like he's just being excluded from the team or being third receiver on the team or even second receiver. He's basically won in the entire National Football League.
Strategy this year to try to get him the ball more, and I think they've succeeded at that. I don't think the Bills' offense, stat-wise, has any issue. It's Josh Allen making mistakes at critical times in the game.
Correct.
That's cost them these games.
Offensively, they're 26th in interceptions.
They had 4 turnovers. Didn't they have 4 turnovers last?
They did. They did. Yeah.
Yeah, and 3 of them were Josh Allen.
One. First of all, it got
first
bad.
play of the game.
First play of the game.
They lost the ball.
If it was a fumble on James Cook. And then you had an almost interception on the very, very next play. And then you had 2 interceptions to end the half. And then you had a fumble, I think, in the third quarter. Josh Allen couldn't even hold the snap to hand it off to James Cook, let alone James Cook trying to make a play. Yeah. What I found very, very fascinating in this game was I think they tried to run the ball much more. They're an okay running team, but James Cook had one of the best games of his career in this game. He rushed for over 100 yards. He had no touchdowns. He had 9.1 yards a carry. I mean, he was tearing it up. The Bills ran the ball very well, nearly 200 yards on 26 carries, 7.4 yards a carry, 2 rushing touchdowns. So they try to take the ball out of Josh Allen's hands.
That's why they're firing their offensive coordinator? Come on. The stats are good. The issue is the quarterback.
I can't disagree with you. And people are saying, oh, yeah, the play calling is setting up Josh Allen to make mistakes. I'll tell you one thing. There's a play in the Patriots-Bills game, the first very play of the game, Was that Josh Allen? Was that Ken Dorsey's fault for calling? I think it might have been Dawson Knox or Dalton Kincaid for him to be wide open. Josh Allen throwing a very, very poor ball right into the hands of Jabril Peppers.
Yeah.
These I'll get the Gabe Davis one was a tip pass. I'll give you that. That's just circumstantial. That's unfortunate. But some of these passes are really bad. You can't defend red zone interceptions. You can't defend someone like he's basically Brett Favre, but maybe more turnover prone than Brett Favre. Brett Favre was a turnover machine. I think he might lead the league and lead the NFL in historical interceptions. I think Josh Allen's just another rendition of that.
Tried to put the ball. He thought that he could squeeze it in, double coverage and stuff, into a very small spot. And sometimes he did. Many times he didn't. Well,
yeah, that's why he had so many turnovers. So, I don't know. With Josh Allen, this is an interesting situation. I agree with you. I think Ken Dorsey was used as the scapegoat here. The Bills, I don't know if this is the right time to make a coaching change. But I think it was Greg Cosell on the Herd maybe a week or two ago where he said something very, very fascinating. I think it could be true. Do we overrate and overhype the Bills' offense because of Josh Allen or because they have Stefon Diggs or a combination of the two? Think about this. Josh Allen, phenomenal talent. We all agree. Josh Allen has tremendous talent. Stefon Diggs, he's been great since he got to the Bills. Outside of that, who do they have? James Cook is an interesting and promising running back, but he isn't all that yet.
Kincaid is a pretty good tight end.
Kincaid's a growing tight end. Dawson Knox ain't over here dominating the NFL. He ain't a Mark Andrews or George Kittle. He definitely isn't a Travis Kelce. You would take a number of tight ends over Dawson Knox.
Kincaid is the guy that's up and coming.
He's tight end too.
Yeah,
and early in the season he was getting barely any looks. This offense, I think we overhyped because
last night.
He did. He tried to help me with a parlay. Too bad Stefon Diggs couldn't score a singular touchdown. Blows my mind. But I think we overhyped the offense just a little bit because they have two superstars, right? The offensive line isn't all that. The running game is slightly above average. Gabe Davis is a hit or miss on every single week. Most of the time he's a miss. They don't really have, a dominating offense. And I think just because they have two really good players that we say, oh, this is a top 5 team, top 3 team in the NFL. Well, we've seen a lot of misses and a lot of valleys. Peaks and valleys is all about the NFL. But right now in this season, the Bills have been in a lot of valleys. And I want to just ask you about this. Remember that 13-second play back in the playoffs against the Chiefs where the Bills had a phenomenal game. I think Gabe Davis had 4 touchdowns in that game. And then we talk about the bracket coverage. Why are you playing bracket coverage when the Chiefs have 2 timeouts? Josh Allen and this Bills offense, I feel like it seems they're trying to play like they're trying to get that game back. They're trying to make every throw is a big time throw. They're trying to fit into tight windows like they're trying to beat the Chiefs in that playoff game again. Sometimes you just have to dink and dunk your way to victory. Josh Dobbs did that. I think Kirk Cousins did that some of the time.
No. This is a coaching issue, I think. But I think it's more a head coaching issue than it is an offensive coordinator issue.
I think Sean McDermott's seat is a little bit warm.
In that Chiefs game, that was the head coach's issue.
Right.
They made a mistake in how they handled that strategy. They could have won that game easily.
Right.
They let the Chiefs get that field goal, and then they lost the game. So I think that was on the head coach. They weren't prepared for the last 30 seconds of that game.
Yeah.
And that cost them. And I think that hurt them. It hurt them big time, right? They haven't really been the same since. They did make the playoffs last year. They didn't get that far. And this year, they may not even make the playoffs.
I think there's a high likelihood. And I do think right now, with the fact that they're declining, I would definitely include the fact that Trevon Diggs is now calling out Josh Allen and Stefon Diggs and saying, yo, Stefon Diggs ain't the problem here. Josh Allen, you weren't that good before Stefon Diggs. If they're on a winning streak and he's saying that, okay, that's something. But the fact that now they're on a huge decline right now, it just adds insult to injury.
This is a lot more on Allen than it is on Diggs. I mean, Diggs is out there catching the ball. It has to be thrown to him.
Right.
And if you're not getting him the ball or you're throwing the ball and it's being intercepted, that's not on the wide receiver.
Right. So, I don't know. The Bills look like they're in danger right now. We're going to have to wait and see, but their schedule is very, very hard. I believe they've one of, if not the toughest remaining schedules going forward. So I don't know. The Bills could be in danger of missing the playoffs for the first time since 2018. So we'll have to wait and see. All right, let's get into our next topic. So the Patriots fall to 2-8 after a 10-6 loss to the Indianapolis Colts. But some of this, I guess you would say, is good, maybe, because the Patriots did indeed make history on Sunday. So the Patriots rushed for 167 yards, and the defense only allowed 10 points. So the NFL had 266 games where if you rush for 150 or more yards and allow 10 or fewer points, you're 266-0. The Patriots are the first loss in NFL history to rush for over 150 yards and allow 10 or fewer points.
Unbelievable.
Now, we talked about this before. I don't know where it is. I thought I had it. Do I? I don't have it. I don't know where my white flag went. I would have handed it to you. Are you now going to... What's your reaction to the game? And are you... I don't have the flag in front of me, but are you willing to wave the flag that I thought was here? Oh, here it is. Will you wave this? I waved it last week after that Commanders loss. Are you willing to wave this white flag of surrender now and admit the Patriots season is officially over?
No.
No, you're not doing it yet. How
Not
can
yet.
you have hope?
Not yet. They still could go 9-8.
Oh, my God. Unbelievable.
I do think they have not announced a starter for the New York Giants game. They have a bye week now. I have a thought that perhaps they're going to bench both Zappi and Mac Jones and bring up Malik Cunningham and let him play a more razzle-dazzle type of offense, running around in the backfield, outside the pocket, running on a lot of plays, throwing the ball, some on the run. Why not try that? I think that's they got nothing to lose now. Their offensive line isn't very good. So having a quarterback that's more mobile and can get outside the pocket, make something happen, makes a lot of sense for them. They're wide receivers. I would Juju Smith-Schuster, I'd set him on the bench. Devontae Parker, he's always hurt. I'd keep him out the rest of the year. Let Booty and Douglas play. And then the wide receivers, Gesicki and Hunter Henry, keep them in there. Then play with that. Maybe even try Tyquan Thornton, although I think he's a bust. I really do. He gets no separation. He can't get any separation. He runs terrible routes. The only thing he is fast.
Yeah.
His hands aren't even that good. I don't know why they drafted him. You know?
That's a great question.
So I'd let those guys play. That's what I'd do. Bring up the other quarterback. Let the young guys play. See what happens.
So, I mean, based on what you're telling me, you're saying bench all the starters and bring in your third string So you're fourth string quarterback, actually. So you're saying waive this, basically, just not officially saying waive it.
I'm not. I can't wave the white flag on the Patriots yet when they still could have a winning record.
So you think, based on that method,
if they lose to the Giants, they lose to the Giants, I will wave the white flag.
Here's the thing: should they lose to the Giants, that would put them closer to that number 1 overall pick. I think the Panthers could. I think really with the amount of parity that's going on in the NFL this season, I think realistically the Panthers could win 2 more games, either against the Falcons or against the Bucs or both. I'm not too sure, but I think they could win a couple of games, which then move the Bears pick farther down. So the Patriots have a top 3 pick because the Panthers are so god awful. The Giants are starting Tommy DeVito, who comes up smaller than Danny DeVito in games. So you know what? I want to talk about this. So Belichick at a press conference today. I want to bring this up. This is his discussion about personnel and other things like that. This was Bill Belichick in a press conference today about what exactly is going on with the New England Patriots.
Yeah, we got a lot of things to work on this week as a team, and we'll work through those. So that's what we're going to do this week. Like I said, I have confidence in all the players that are on the team. Yeah, I think as a team, we all need to do a better job. Coaches, players, offense, defense, special teams. It's each one of us have areas that we can improve in, and we're all in the same boat on that. We all just need to do better and do a little bit more. And if we can do that cumulatively, then that'll make a difference.
Now, I don't know if you necessarily agree with the fact that it's all about coaching, because I do think some of it is on the players. I mean,
it's a lot on the players, for sure. It's a lot on the players. A lot of it on Mac Jones, right? 266-0 when you rush for more than 150 yards and you only give up 10 points. He broke that record. Okay,
they broke that record. I'm gonna say they.
I think he did it. They were driving down the field. They were going for the score, He had him on the inside the 10-yard line. Right. Look at this. Throws the ball right to him. He could have at least lobbed it high. Gesicki was way behind. Look, he was way behind him. All he had to do was run to the corner of the end zone. All he had to do was throw it up high. He didn't know what he was doing. It's a very poor decision. Very poor. He does that regularly, by the way.
Yeah, no, I've defended Mac Jones on this show for the past year and a half. I cannot and will not defend that pass. That is a indefensible pass. Not going to do it. However, I have something else here. This, on the other hand, people are shouting to be the answer. This guy ain't the answer either.
No, I agree. 100%.
This, you may argue that this could be worse, at least decision-making. Yeah. Mac Jones made the right choice. Gesicki was open. There was no way in hell. Demario Davis being, 5'8", and throwing it to basically quadruple coverage, that was never getting completed in 18 lifetimes. Mahomes couldn't make that throw. Tom Brady can't make that throw.
On that play, do you think the other players knew what Bailey Zappi was doing? That he was going to fake the spike and throw it down the field? Because there's only one receiver out. Yeah. There was only one receiver down the field. Show the play again.
Sure.
This is a terrible throw.
Oh, that's Mac Jones post game. Oh no, sorry. This is what we're talking about.
Look. See, they don't. Nobody was going. Look, he's the only player down the field.
Say, Juju was going, but I would say
where was he? Where was Juju?
He was on the top of the screen. You could see him at the top of the route there. But a lot of people were just going on flats. They didn't know exactly what was going on.
But typically there's no separation there, and he threw into triple coverage.
Yeah,
3 guys there.
Yeah.
So obviously he didn't know what he was doing either. I agree. Both quarterbacks set him down. Bring up the other guy. Let him try. At least it'll be entertaining.
Well, I'm going to say...
Watching these guys play, the games are ugly.
Yeah.
They're ugly. They can't move the ball. 3 and out, punt. Maybe a field goal. Get a drive going. It never ends in a touchdown. It's always a field goal. They can't score touchdowns.
Right.
Do they have the lowest scoring offense in the league now? It must be pretty close.
The I believe the Giants are worse. Yeah, well. I think the Giants are averaging like 11 points a game. The Patriots are 31st in the league in scoring. I'm going to say this, though. Offensive line played very poorly in inopportune moments. On first down, you give up a sack. That is what it is. But on four of the 5 sacks came on a third down. And most of the time, it was 3rd and short. So if you have sacks on a 3rd and short, and a couple of them came in the red zone, it's very, very difficult for an offense to keep going. When you're at a 3rd and short in the red zone or just trying to make a play, and you have guys like Veterian Lowe, I can't pronounce his first name. Trent Brown was out for this game. You had to bring in Lowe. You brought in McDermott out there a couple times. 4 out of the 5 sacks on 3rd down, that is a killer. Also, I'll say this. I'm going to talk about this later on the show, but I seriously believe this. If Chad Ryland didn't miss that if he didn't miss the field goal in the 3rd quarter to make it 10-9, I guarantee you, the Patriots they would have never thrown that football, the one that Mac Jones got picked off. They would just ran it 3 times. Chad Ryland kicks the field goal, you go up 12-10. You let your defense play the rest of the game. Have the Colts with Gardner Minshew, who, by the way, 3rd down, he made some very, very key plays. I think they went like 4 of 13 on 3rd down, but still, those 3rd downs, some of those 3rd downs were beautiful throws and deep passes too. So the defense, they were pretty good, at least keeping the points off the board.
The defense did an excellent job.
The defense did a pretty good job.
They only gave up 10 points the whole game.
I'm not. Yep.
The defense has played definitely well enough for the team to win.
Absolutely.
It's been all on the offense.
The offense was
offense.
Ugly.
I got to say. I mean, the defense has had tough time getting off the field on 3rd down sometimes, but they bend and they don't break. I mean, you only gave up 10 points in that game.
Right.
So the fact that you could only score 2 field goals, pitiful.
It's
pitiful.
Bad. Oh, it is bad.
It's terrible.
I'm not gonna fight. I'm not gonna defend that pass by Mac Jones. It's an indefensible pass. There's not much I could say. It's just I know for the fact that maybe I know for a fact. I don't care what people say. Bailey Zappi is not the guy. I don't care what people say. Especially this year when he came in. But I also say this. I think Belichick's feelings and anger got the best of him.
He did. It definitely was.
The last drive of the game, you decide to put in the backup, not because Mac Jones up until that point was playing fine. He wasn't playing great, but he wasn't playing bad. He was playing perfectly fine. He was, 14 of 19 before that pass was thrown? No, 15 of 19 before that pass was thrown. He was playing fine. And then, you have one bad play. The decision-making on that play to throw it to Gesicki, that was the right read. The pass
was the wrong.
Was maybe one of the ugliest interceptions the NFL has ever seen. Because,
all he had to do was lob the ball.
No.
Gesicki was wide open.
I can't defend it.
All he had to do was run to the corner and catch a lobbed pass, and it would have been a touchdown. They would have won the game.
I'll say this. Juju Smith-Schuster was shocked that Mac Jones was benched at that time. So he didn't know what was going on.
Juju Smith-Schuster has been a very poor performer for the Patriots this year. I'm shocked that he's that bad.
Well, when you pay him 3 years, $25 million, you can't really necessarily get off him when you want to.
I'd bench him.
You can't. You're paying him too much money.
Yeah, let Booty and Douglas carry the load. Bring up Malik Cunningham. Let him try throwing the ball to him. Can't be any worse. Can't do any worse, Nate. They're 31st in scoring. They don't do anything. They're like they're asleep out there most of the time. It's terrible. It's terrible.
I'll also say this. Jack Jones got waived yesterday. Instantly got picked up by the Las Vegas Patriots. The Raiders picked him up.
Yeah.
Antonio Pierce and Jack Jones have a connection. I think he was his high school and college coach, if I'm not mistaken. So they have some sort of connection there. But yeah, Belichick, he even said in that press conference, he said, no, even if he clears waivers, he's not coming back at all. So there's a clear disconnect there. Sean Wade was playing. J.C. Jackson got benched. There's a lot of things going wrong. I think Belichick's trying to keep his dominance over the team and try to hold on to his philosophy.
He's sending him a message about missing the curfew, not putting the team first.
Yep.
If you do that, you're going to suffer. You're going to be gone, and that's what happened to Jack Jones. It sends a message to the rest of the players. Belichick's using him for that message. Yeah. And that guy, let's face it. He's got problems anyway. He got arrested.
Gun charges. Belichick stuck by him.
Yeah.
I assume he'd hoped he'd mature after that situation.
Yeah, well.
And he goes on social media and
he's out now.
He leaves the facility. He's not talking to the media after, was it the Washington Commanders game where he got benched for the first quarter? It's a whole mess. Belichick's trying to, keep a hold of that team. And I think it's not out of his hands, but I think it is slipping because they are 2-8. They haven't been back to the playoffs since 2021. It's looked uglier and uglier every single year now. Cam Newton may have been a better quarterback than Mac Jones. I'm not sure. Later on, I think I have a situational topic later on that I'm planning right now. If certain circumstances fall into place, there's going to be a very, very special topic that we're going to talk about. I'm just going to throw it out there right now. But let's get some positive vibes in that because
before we leave this topic,
what do you got?
Do you think that maybe bringing back Josh McDermott for Josh McDaniel for Mac Jones might be a difference maker?
I actually do. I actually do because.
So why not fire Bill O'Brien?
The only proof,
fire Bill O'Brien and let Josh McDaniel come back. If Mac Jones is terrible the rest of the year for that, then you'll know he's not your quarterback and draft another one.
You don't even need to wait the year. If he's bad for the first 4 games,
I'd say fire Bill O'Brien now. Fire him now. Bring back McDaniel. I bet they
Belichick won't do that. Belichick won't do that.
I bet they talked to McDaniel. I bet Kraft talked to McDaniel. I'm willing to bet you that they've talked to him and see maybe he doesn't want to. He's got tons of money now.
Yeah.
Maybe he doesn't want to come back.
Well, I'll say this. When has this ever happened?
Maybe you'll see the Bills. Maybe you'll see the Bills take McDaniel. Somebody's going to get him next year as an OC.
Maybe as an OC. See. Head coach, never again.
Never again. I mean, he's had his 2 chances. I don't think he'll get a third one. So
I'll say this, though. Belichick, I feel like, I can't remember. You know the Patriots history more than I do. Has Belichick ever fired a coach or a coordinator during the year?
I don't remember. I don't remember it, but I wouldn't be surprised.
No
if it
big
had
name
happened.
at least. You're not seeing an OC be fired or a quarterback coach be fired. Hell, Matt Patricia and Joe Judge didn't move an inch last season.
Hey, they're looking. You know what? They're looking pretty good.
They were better last year.
They're looking pretty good now. What's the Patriots' record right now? They were a playoff. They were contending for a playoff spot the last game of the season last year, and they got beat by the special teams, giving up two kick returns for touchdowns. Yeah. So, hey, their season was a hell of a lot better last year, and their offense was a lot better than it is this year. Their offense is almost dead last.
5-4 last season.
5-4 right now.
By week 10, 5-4.
Yeah.
They had a bye week in week 10.
Now they're 2-8.
2-8. 2-8. It's pretty bad. But I do want to talk about some positive vibes. It's time for what went wrong, what went right. So let's start with our first one.
What went right?
So, Josh Dobbs, I got to give it to you. You were right about this one. I was wrong. Josh Dobbs absolutely tore up the Saints. Derek Carr had a very, very poor performance in this one. Jameis Winston had to come in after a Derek Carr injury. But Josh Dobbs, 23-34, 312 total yards. Two total touchdowns. Able to bring the Vikings to a 27-19 win. I got to give it to you. The Vikings they're right now in the playoffs, and Josh Dobbs is leading them right to the playoff contention. You got this one right. You picked the Vikings on a 3-point upset. I got to give it to you. You were right about this one. Josh Dobbs takes another victory in the Vikings' favor.
I don't think the Saints are that good. We went to the game against the Patriots. They looked like world beaters, but after that they played lousy. I think they've won one game since then.
Right.
And I thought that the Vikings have a lot of talent. They have a lot of talent on their team. Has Justin Jefferson come back
He's
yet?
coming back slowly, but he wants to be
100%.
100%.
Can you believe when he gets out there with Dobbs?
I got to give it to you. Yeah, no.
I think they're probably a playoff team. They are in the playoffs
they're
now.
right now in the playoffs.
I bet they hang in there. What's their record look like the rest of the way?
So right now, the Vikings, after this win against the Saints, they're going up against at Denver Broncos, who their defense has been better. And by the way, Josh Dobbs is continuing a 5-game winning streak right now. The Vikings are on a 5-game winning streak, 2 of which have come in the hands of Josh Dobbs leading the way. So then they're at Denver, then home against the Bears. Then that's a bye week.
They should win that one.
Absolutely. Then you're at Raiders.
I'd say they have a good chance to win that one.
At Bengals.
Maybe not.
Then home against the Lions. That's probably a loss.
Maybe.
And then home against the Packers. That's a win.
Yeah.
And then at Lions. So you win 3 more games. You're at 8-9. 8-9 in the NFC.
Yeah, I'm not going to get there. 8-9 won't get there.
I say
they got to find a way to beat the Lions once.
Because Washington is so bad, because Tampa Bay isn't that great, because Atlanta's not that great, and I think the Rams are slipping. I think 8-9 could make it, because right now the Rams are 3-6, Tampa and Atlanta are 4-5 and 4-6, and Commanders are 4-6. Right now the Vikings are 6-4. I mean, why not? 3 games. My fault. You won 9-8. I think that makes you in the playoffs absolutely as a 6 or a 7 seed.
Oh yeah, 9-8 maybe get
especially
there.
in the NFC.
Yeah,
and the NFC's bad. But unfortunately, because this is the NFL, we obviously have
what went wrong.
So,
wait a minute. I'm not done with what went right on Josh Dobbs.
Sorry.
Smart move by the coach to bring in Dobbs.
Absolutely.
To trade and get him after the injury to Cousins, who put him out for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
To pick up Dobbs and the way he's played, I saw a show this morning. They were comparing Dobbs this season to Purdy's season last year, and they're saying who's having the better season. I would have to say Purdy right now, but if Josh Dobbs gets the Vikings to the playoffs, I would say his season this year will outshine what Purdy did last year.
Wow. Hey, I may give it to you. I may give that to you.
And I give the Vikings coach a lot of credit.
Absolutely.
They were down what? They were 1-4. Were they 1-4? They won 5 in a row, right?
That
makes them
6 and 3, I think.
6-4 now.
6-4. You're right.
Yeah. So they were 1-4. They won 5 in a row,
and that's with Kirk Cousins as quarterback.
Yeah.
By the way,
2 was Dobbs.
Right.
Yeah.
But Josh Dobbs' nickname is Pastronaut because I think he's a rocket scientist or something. He's an astronaut, so Pastronaut is his nickname. The dude's smart as hell.
Is he smart?
He's incredibly smart. Just think about it. He got traded to the Vikings on Halloween. Then 3 days later, you're in an NFL game trying to learn everything. You come out and perform extremely well. I mean, hey, Josh Dobbs. We haven't really seen him because he hasn't gotten an opportunity to play. Is he a franchise guy? I don't know, but he's like a Teddy Bridgewater. Can he come in 5-6 games and win you 3 or 4 of them?
But who was he with last year?
The Browns, if I'm not.
Was he with the Browns? Right. He wasn't that great with them.
Let's see.
He wasn't that great with them, and actually with Arizona, he was kind of average too. It's only when he got to the Vikings that he really stepped up It's because of the pieces around him. I think the
He was with
Vikings have
Tennessee. Oh no, I'm sorry. He was with Tennessee last year.
Tennessee. That's right.
Right. Was it the last game of the season? They
Yeah.
almost beat one of the, I forget the exact game, but he played pretty well. He went last season 400. Yeah, no, he played okay, not great, but this season, yeah, he played pretty well.
This year he's a star now that he got to the the last 2 games. It's a small sample size, as we've said many times.
Well, he looked pretty good with the Cardinals. He looked
okay.
He looked okay.
I think he has more pieces with the Vikings.
Oh, absolutely,
Yeah.
1,000%.
Better team.
All right, let's get into what went wrong.
What went wrong?
Which is Will Levis. We were on the Will
happened to
Levis
him?
hype train, and unfortunately, it fell right through.
We felt he was going to be the answer for the Titans, and they lost.
Yeah.
But I think they lost mainly because of the running game. They couldn't get anything going against Tampa Bay, right?
16 carries, 42 yards, 2.6 yards a carry. Will Levis, on the other hand, 19 of 39, not great. 199 yards, no touchdown, 1 pick. He did get sacked 4 times against a pretty good Tampa Bay pass rush. Baker Mayfield. I mean, I thought this game was going to be in the hands of the Titans because Baker Mayfield threw a very early game and bad interception. I think they went and scored a field goal off the interception. It looked like it was going to be a classic Baker Mayfield choke, but no, he stepped it up, ended up with 278 yards, 2 touchdowns, only 1 pick. I don't know. Will Levis, he looked pretty good, but I think it's because before entering this game, so through his other prior start, they were running play action 33% of the time, leading the NFL. If you don't have a running game, I don't know how effective Will Levis could be. We saw it in this game against a Buccaneers team that isn't great with Baker Mayfield at quarterback. The defense didn't look particularly great. The offensive line is still, I think, I talked about this before the season. I think the offensive line needs a lot of work. So I think, Will Levis hype train maybe needs to slow down, at least for us, I would say. Because right now, Will Levis, he's definitely interesting, but I don't know. The hype train may need to slow down for us. I'm not too sure about that. Let's get into another one. What went right? So,
Will Levis is still the starter,
obviously,
right?
Yeah, 1,000%. So the Cowboys absolutely decimated Tommy DeVito and the New York Giants in a 49-17 win over the Giants on Sunday.
Took the Cowboys and the points, 17-point spread,
absolutely.
And they covered it easily.
Well, think about this.
The Giants scored 17 points.
They did score 17 points. The Cowboys outgained the Giants by 468 yards. Cowboys at 640 yards on the day. The Giants at 172.
Unbelievable.
Dak Prescott's having one of the best, if not the best, season of his entire career. In this game, he had 404
yards. Got to play against the Giants
and
twice.
5
That
total
helps
touchdowns.
his stats.
The first game of the season may have been statistically his worst game because low completion percentage, not that many yards. The defense did a lot of the damage here, but this one, 404 passing yards and 5 total touchdowns. This one I feel like was so easy. It was incredibly easy to pick. The Giants and the Cowboys in that defense, a significantly better offense against a Giants team that's arguing and tempers flaring on the sideline. I think Brian Daboll's job is secured, at least for now. But I do think I think they're going for a quarterback. They're the 2nd overall pick right now. Caleb Williams, maybe if the Bears if they either draft someone else or they trade back for a team that maybe doesn't want. I don't know the exact situation, but the Giants are drafting a quarterback. This Daniel Jones thing. You have one more year where the cap is a real killer. But after next year, whoever the quarterback is, you may keep him. But they're going to draft a new quarterback next year. And I think that new quarterback may start. But this game I think was probably the easiest one to pick. The Giants getting pummeled by the Dallas Cowboys.
I think Brian Daboll gets another year, don't
Absolutely.
you? I don't think they're going to fire him.
I would 1,000% agree with you on that.
The only thing that might upset that if Bill Belichick got fired.
You really think he'd go back?
Well, I think the Giants would want him. I mean, he spent a lot of his career with the Giants and had a lot of success there.
That's
with
true.
Bill Parcells. Remember when they thought that Bill Belichick was going to leave the Patriots, and that was all over the New York Post and the papers. The Bill Belichick's coming to New York. He's going to be the Giants head coach. It never happened. It was a pipe dream. But I guarantee you, if he was available, they would chase him.
I would actually tend to agree with that. I mean, if Belichick was available, I realistically think there may be at least 5 teams that would want Belichick just because of his,
But I agree with you.
His history.
If the Chargers were after him, he'd probably go there.
1,000%.
Because they got the pieces.
They got literally everything.
They just don't have the coaching
You need better
trust.
coaching on defense. You already have the offense perfectly situated, and that is what Belichick succeeded with.
That's right.
So unless Belichick wants to keep going on that memory lane of going back to the Giants, maybe whatever.
I doubt it. He wants those 17 wins he needs to get to the pinnacle.
He ain't getting out with the Patriots for at least 2 seasons.
Yeah.
At least 2 seasons. But let's wrap up with this what went wrong, what went right with.
What went wrong?
So we each picked the Ravens to win and cover the point spread on Sunday. And unfortunately, it seems all too often the Ravens choke a double-digit lead in the fourth quarter.
And they did it again.
They did it once again. Lamar Jackson, 2 interceptions on the day, not looking too good. On the other hand, I couldn't believe this. Deshaun Watson, perfect in the second half, 14 of 14 in the second. After starting off very poorly, the first pass he threw was pick 6, which I thought was going to be a very bad day for the Cleveland Browns, but they stepped it up in that second half, scoring 24 points in that second half in order to push past the Baltimore Ravens. But the Ravens, at least I think, one of the best teams. I think I may have had them number 1 or number 2 in the NFL as one of my top teams in the NFL. Super Bowl-wise, the playoffs, Lamar Jackson seems to come up very, very small in the playoffs. Right now, I don't think this is a Super Bowl winning team. Could they compete for it? I think they can, just because of how dominant they've been throughout the year. But I don't know if I trust this team yet. I don't trust the Ravens.
I gotta agree with you. I was trusting them big time this game against the Browns. You got to beat teams like that. I mean, the Browns are okay, but the Ravens, you got to beat them if you think you're going to go to the Super Bowl this year. You have to win games like this, and to be ahead by a lot in the fourth quarter and then blow it. Hey, you got to be questioning them whether they're really for real or not.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
and I see Deshaun Watson got hurt in this game as well. He hurt his ankle. That could be a problem. He's having an issue with it. So
his pain tolerance seems to be a little bit low, I would say.
Yeah, well, he seems to get hurt a lot.
You get medically clear with a rotator cuff and then can't play for 3 weeks. I'm not sure. Pain tolerance may be an issue. But I think, we shouldn't be, over-exaggerating this, I think, because the Ravens defense is still, we're talking about like 2000s Ravens numbers. They're still doing really, really well. I think they're the number 1 scoring defense. Lamar Jackson, has at least passing-wise this season, has been pretty good so far, if not one of the best in the NFL. So maybe maybe this is a little road bump in their pathway to success. But right now, not looking too good for the Ravens after a loss to the Cleveland Browns. But you know what? The Cleveland Browns have upset a couple teams. 49ers, they started the 49ers 3-game losing streak, and they bounced back big time against the Jaguars. So I don't know. Maybe this is just a little road bump for the Ravens' ultimate goal of potentially winning a Super Bowl. So we'll have to wait and see. But coming up, C.J. Stroud rose and shone on Sunday in an upset win over the Bengals. Was this a choke by the Bengals or the Texans showing their NFL dominance? Also, Mac Jones is benched for the 3rd time this season after a poorly timed interception in the red zone. Is his time as a Patriot over? And finally, we make our picks for Thursday night's game between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Baltimore Ravens right after this.
Whether you're just discovering your voice or taking your show to the next level, you know what the world needs to hear. All you have to do is say it. With Spotify, set up your podcast. Your food podcast. Your mindfulness podcast. Your never thought you'd get this far podcast. And watch those sparks fly.
I put a picture of the
Drop the episode anywhere people listen. And find out who they're cooking with, where they're finding inner balance, and why they love your show. You're already a creator. Now you can create, connect, and get paid for your passion with one single free tool. Spotify for podcasters. Talk where the world listens.
Using Wi-Fi without NordVPN could mean sharing your private stuff with more people than you think. Stay safe on public Wi-Fi. Get NordVPN's special offer and encrypt your internet connection. NordVPN. Online security starts with a click.
Welcome back to the Harvey Hour. My name's Nathan Harvey. Good to have you in on a Tuesday. As always, I'm joined alongside my dad, Stephen Harvey. Let's get into today's next topic of today's episode. We're talking about the Houston Texans versus the Cincinnati Bengals. The Texans able to get a 30-27 upset over the Cincinnati Bengals on a Matt Amendola game-winning field goal. CJ Stroud dominating so far in the NFL after a beautiful from behind victory last week against the Buccaneers. He goes up against the Bengals, and they're I think 6.5-point underdogs, and he pulls out this one. He did have a rookie mistake, an interception that was pretty bad, but 356 yards on the day, a passing touchdown. He's second in the NFL in passing yards, 15 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. That ratio is absolutely insane. What an incredible performance so far throughout the year for CJ Stroud. So I want to know, did this win by the Texans say more about the Texans or more about the Bengals?
First, I'd say C.J. Stroud is the Rookie of the Year, hands down.
Yeah.
I don't care what happens the rest of the year. The guy's going to get it, and he deserves it. 15 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions. They have a record of what now? 5-4.
They're 5-4.
5-4.
Right now, they're in the playoffs.
Right now, they're a playoff team. Nobody picked them to do this well. I give their coaching a lot of credit too. I mean, they've got this guy very comfortable in the offense. He doesn't have any spectacular wide receivers out there. He's just making it work, man.
Right.
He is really something. Very, very special guy. Should have been the number 1 pick. You had him there. I had him number 2. But the Texans are probably feeling very lucky that they got him and didn't pick Bryce Young, who has been very, very poor. Right?
I would agree with you there.
But I'd say this game says more about the Texans than it does about the Bengals, because it says the Texans went up against a team that has been very, very good the last few years, made it to the Super Bowl 2 years ago, perennial playoff team now with a lot of stars on the team. They didn't blink. They hung in there. The game was tied 27-27 right down to the end, and they managed to get down there and get a field goal and win it. I think it says more about the Texans than it does about the Bengals. It says a lot about their character. It says a lot about their confidence in themselves. For a very young team that is building around 2 players, C.J. Stroud and Will Anderson.
Interesting. Well, I'm going to agree with you there. I do think this says more about the Texans just because of the fact that what we've seen so far from C.J. Stroud is sort of the reason why I picked him to go number 1. Just think about the Ohio State game. His last year in college with Ohio State against Georgia. Georgia had probably the most dominant defense in college football a couple years ago last year. And we saw what I think CJ Stroud threw for over 400 yards in that game. So Stroud knows how to play against great defenses. You go up against a Bengals team who right now was on a winning streak, and Joe Burrow seemed to be either in full form or very close to full form. You go up against that team and you throw basically a pass and party. And also, that game-winning drive, you had 1:33 left. You had, 46 or 47 seconds to win against Tampa Bay. You had a little bit more leeway in this come-from-behind win or I guess, game-winning drive. But I'm going to give it to Stroud. Stroud, I think right now, not only do I think, I would say right now he's the favorite for Offensive Rookie of the Year, I think this game, if last week didn't at least create rumors or murmurs, I think this game sort of solidifies the fact that not only will C.J. Stroud probably win Offensive Rookie of the Year, I think we need to talk about him potentially being the MVP of the league, because think about it, when we think of MVP, literally look at the words, most valuable player. If Davis Mills was put into this team right now, if he was put into this situation, what would his record be? 2-7, 1-8? What C.J. Stroud is, I know for a fact Davis Mills would not either be close or come from behind and win the game the past 2 weeks. I know that for a fact. But what C.J. Stroud is doing is he's been dominant, very, very dominant. He may have the best rookie season of all time. He's being extremely careful with the football, going from what we saw in the preseason. We've talked about this. He looked scared in that first game against the Patriots in the preseason to what he is now. He looks super confident. He looks like a 5-year veteran quarterback. He's not making mistakes. He had one bad interception, but I will also put a little bit of context on this game because, yes, while it was very impressive, C.J. Stroud had a beautiful come-from-behind victory. I would say he would have needed a touchdown on this last drive if it weren't for Tyler Boyd dropping maybe the easiest touchdown of his career. A beautifully thrown pass. He had 2 opportunities to catch this ball, and he couldn't reel it in. So this was an unfortunate play for the Bengals. Tyler Boyd had 2 beautiful opportunities, easy opportunities, uncovered and unpressured opportunities, but he couldn't get it done. So a little bit of context there. So instead of a game-winning field goal, he would have needed a game-winning touchdown. But I don't think that should take much away from the fact that C.J. Stroud this season has been absolutely balling.
How much time was left when that happened?
That field goal was kicked.
Not the field goal, but when Boyd dropped the pass.
It was a minute 42 left.
Okay, so they might have gone back down and scored a touchdown.
Maybe. That's what I'm saying. So now,
I mean, they did drive the ball down the field.
Correct.
Right? Yeah.
Correct. But you would have needed
and they
one or two
wound
more
up with the
big-time
ball
plays.
deep in their own territory. Well, the Bengals kicked the field goal then.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
And that made it 27-27. And then the Texans, they drove down the field pretty far, right, before they kicked the winning field goal.
Right.
Yeah.
But you would need one or two big-time plays to get in the end zone.
Maybe.
But I'll also
they might
say
have
this.
done it. They might have done it. This
They
guy
may
is
have.
a magician. He's very good, and I agree with you. If he continues with these kinds of stats and winds up the year with 28 touchdowns and 4 picks, he could be the MVP.
Yeah.
Particularly if they make the playoffs and he wins a playoff game. But don't they pick the MVP before the playoffs start, right? So, yeah, if he gets them into the playoffs and he has those kinds of his stats continue the way they're going, could be the MVP.
I definitely think he should be in the conversation right now. Take rookie away.
Who
like
else would be ahead of him?
We're talking about Lamar Jackson, Mahomes. I think Trevor Lawrence is still up there. I think Joe Burrow. I think Josh Allen is still in the conversation.
I don't think so.
What about Trevor Lawrence? Trevor Lawrence got smoked. He absolutely, and I think C.J. Stroud actually has better stats.
And I don't think Mahomes
than,
is not having his best season. He's not having his best season.
The Chiefs are also favored to win the Super Bowl once again. I don't get that. I think I would at least pick 2 teams over them, but we don't make the standings. I gotta give, but not only am I gonna give C.J. Stroud credit,
Lamar Jackson might be.
Lamar Jackson, I would definitely think he's up there. But I'm gonna give C.J. Stroud his flowers, but I'm also gonna give the Texans as an organization a lot of credit. You have a first-time offensive coordinator and a brand new head coach. I'm going to say, and you have a brand new quarterback, and you have a number of brand new pieces to add to that team. Noah Brown, who came from the Cowboys. You had Dalton Schultz, who also came from the Cowboys. Devin Singletary, running back from the Bills. Tank Dell, a rookie. You had a lot of pieces that were moving in the offseason, and I believe we may have mentioned it either during the offseason or at the end of the offseason that the Texans made a lot of B to B plus moves in the offseason. They didn't make an A or an A plus move, but they made a lot of B and B plus moves, and that's kind of showing its face right now. I mean, they don't have terrible talent. Like C.J. Stroud's not taking the Carolina Panthers or the Arizona Cardinals and making that team into superstars. Is he taking a B- to C+ team and making them a B+? Absolutely, 1,000%. But Dalton Schultz was incredibly effective with the Cowboys last season. I think the Cowboys right now, they could use a Dalton Schultz. Now they're really, really good right now, but who would you rather take, Dalton Schultz or Ferguson? I would take Schultz. Noah Brown wasn't great. He was okay. He was a wide receiver 3 or 4. He had 3 touchdowns last season, so that is what it is. Robert Woods, veteran leadership. Pretty good move for them to get Robert Woods. Nico Collins was okay throughout his career, but having C.J. Stroud, he really, is under the spotlight and looks pretty damn good. And then, and then Tank Dell, phenomenal last season in college. C.J. Stroud wanted to get him, and then they got him in the 3rd round. So they built this team very, very quarterback friendly. The offensive line still has, they got Shaq Mason. They have Tunsil left tackle. They got a couple pieces. The offensive line as a whole isn't great, but I think this team is built for C.J. Stroud to succeed, and he's doing exactly that. So
the offensive line doesn't have to be that great because you got a very mobile quarterback. The guy can move around the pocket very well.
Absolutely. So right now, would you believe the Texans have the 6th best offense in the NFL? 6 total offense. The running game still needs a lot of work. They're 25th, but passing game is number 2.
Number 2.
C.J. Stroud is cooking in the NFL in his rookie year.
Yeah.
I would say, I forget who you had for offensive rookie of the year. I think I know I had Bijan. I'm not sure. I should.
Did I pick Bryce Young?
Did you put? I think you may have picked Bryce Young.
What a mistake.
Right position, wrong quarterback. So, yeah. But the Bengals, this is weird. I'm not going to take a huge hit on this because C.J. Stroud just right now is the guy. Like he is insane right now. But I do think when push comes to shove, what can this team do? Because their defense is absolutely abysmal. I think they're 30th in the run. I'll bring up the actual number right now. Their defense, and I mentioned that early in the year, they're 30th total defense, 25th in the pass, 30th in running. They're 32nd in rushing offense right now. They have not been able to run the ball effectively. Joe Burrow, passing-wise, he's literally middle of the road at 16. They also have the second most attempts. So they're trying to get
So what
the
can the
offense
Bengals
going.
do? It's up to Burrow. They got to put
You need
it's
him to
on his
step up.
back. He's going to have to step up, play like the number one quarterback in the league, and that will get him over the hump.
It's going to be very, very
It's going
difficult.
to be really hard. He's been hurt once this year already, and I think that he has shown that in a few games recently, but not this past weekend, which is a big surprise that they got beat by the Texans. We didn't pick the Texans to win this game, right? We both picked
did not.
the Bengals.
We picked the I picked the Bengals to win in cover. I think you picked the Bengals to win outright and win everything.
Yeah.
I don't have the picks up for us right now, but this is incredibly impressive. The Bengals are at Ravens, that we're going to talk about later on in the show. Then they go home against the Steelers, at Jacksonville, home against the Colts, home against the Vikings, at Steelers, at Kansas City, home against the Browns. So the next 7 games or 8 games are very, very difficult for the Cincinnati Bengals. I think they can maybe win 4 of them. And 4 games right now, when you're rocking 5-4, 4 wins, that gets you to 9-8. I don't know if that's a playoff team.
Yeah.
Especially the fact that the Steelers
Who do
and
the
Browns.
Texans have left?
The Texans, they currently this upcoming week, they are home against the Cardinals, home against Jacksonville, home against the Broncos. I would say you definitely win against definitely win. Yeah, I would say you definitely win against the Cardinals.
I don't know.
Kyler Murray,
Now I
maybe.
got Kyler Murray. He brought him back for a winning score at the end.
He
last
had a very,
week.
very good game-winning drive.
Yeah.
And then you're at Jets, at Titans. I would say you go 2-0 there.
Yeah.
You go 2-0. And then you're home against the Browns and Titans. You go 1-1. I'll give 1-1, maybe 2-0. We'll see. And then at Indy, that's a win. So I think you can win.
Yeah, I think they're going to make the playoffs, right?
I would say you definitely win 4 games. And which by the way, the start of the season, you said, by the way, the Texans, who last year went 13-1. Yeah, by the way, they're going to triple their win total next season. I thought they'd double it. That's what I think. They win 6 or 7 games, and that I didn't feel great about. They may triple it this season.
Yeah.
And you know what? If CJ Stroud
they may have the
triples
coach
their
of the
win total,
year, not only the MVP, rookie of the year, but also the coach of the year.
I would say Dan Campbell is right there. I'm still believing in my coach of the year pick in Dan Campbell,
Yeah.
but it is quite fascinating to see just how good the Texans have been so far this season and how great CJ Stroud has been so far. All right, let's get into a very, very interesting topic. So Mac Jones got benched for the 3rd time this season after a very, very poor red zone interception. I want to bring this up one more time for us. This was the red zone interception, an inexcusable interception, a very poorly thrown football, right decision-making, very, very bad thrown ball. So he got benched for a 3rd time. Bailey Zappi came in and by the way, 2 minutes left in the game. Did he lead a game-winning drive to try to seal the win for the Patriots and come back? No, he threw it into the triple, maybe quadruple coverage to end the game.
To the ground there.
Yeah, well, I think you had very, very little time, so I don't know if you could really throw the ball into the ground. But it's quite unfortunate. The Patriots fall to 2-8, which is their worst record through 10 games since 2000. Not good. Not good at all. By the way, I think that 2000 season, they went 5-11. There's a very decent shot the Patriots stay with 2 wins the rest of the year. There's a decent
You
likelihood.
don't think they'll beat the Giants?
They could beat the Giants, but that would move them to 3-14. 3-14 then the year, which would be their worst record. I'll go back right now to find when their worst. That would be their worst record since 1992 when they went 2-14.
Yeah, Bill Belichick doesn't have a very good record against the Giants. He got beaten 2 Super Bowls by them.
Yeah,
he's been beaten the regular season by them as well. So I don't know. It's going to be a hard game for him.
Yeah,
and for them, every game's hard for them. They're so poor on offense. It's terrible.
Well, here, I want to bring up a soundbite before we jump into the topic. This was Mac Jones talking about his interception.
Yeah, they just told me I was out of the game, so that was a terrible throw. Practiced it, hit it in practice. Just not a good throw, and I knew where to go. I just didn't do it right. Yeah, there were some things that I was working through, but doesn't matter. No excuses.
So once again, the no excuses card. So it's quite unfortunate, but I want to tell you, do you think Mac Jones' career as a New England Patriot, wearing number 10 in that the Century Blue or whatever it's called, the New Century Silver, do you think that's officially over?
Maybe. I can't say 100%, but maybe. What do you think? Do you think it's over?
Well, My plan is, and I'm going to jump into this when that circumstantial topic that we may have, down the road when that comes around. My plan for the Patriots is this is my plan. If you have the 3rd overall pick, let's go solo screen here. If the Patriots have the 3rd overall pick in the draft, that means most likely the Bears trade out of the 1st pick and gain a plethora of picks and maybe a player or two for a team that desperately needs a quarterback. If that's the Giants, so be it. Whatever the case may be. But what I do see happening is I think a team drafts maybe Caleb Williams at number 1. The Giants draft probably Drake May at number 2. That leaves the Patriots at number 3 for a few options. You can go get Michael Penix. You can go get Bo Nix. You can get J.J. McCarthy, I guess. You can get whoever you want at that number 3 spot. My decision would be you draft Marvin Harrison at number 3. You could draft, I think, Jaden Daniels out of LSU goes early in the 2nd round. You could draft him in the 2nd round if you want. Mac Jones makes, I think, $2.6 million next season. You are not paying him anything. You also have $90 million at least in cap space next season. You are going to do something that the Patriots really haven't done. They tried to do that in Mac Jones' first year. You're going to do something that you haven't done throughout Mac Jones' 10 years in New England Patriot. You're going to get him talent. Now, I also think Robert Kraft is going to hire a proper GM. I think that will happen. I think supposedly a lot of, through the grapevine, people are hearing that Belichick and Kraft are going to, amicably depart and go their separate ways at the end of this season. Maybe that'll happen. I don't know. The extension goes to at least next season. That's what the extension was for Bill Belichick. The lucrative multi-year deal supposedly is only for next season. So what I think is Belichick stays as the head coach. I do think they hire a GM or at least a consultant that has a lot of say in who they're drafting and who they're acquiring. Because Belichick, even buying talent, it sort of falls flat on its face. I think they're going to draft Marvin Harrison. And why do I say that and not draft a quarterback like Michael Penix or Bo Nix is for this reason. They had several opportunities to get a wide receiver very, very good and a top-tier wide receiver. And I mentioned this a few times on the show. I said, go out and get D-Hop because it'll answer 2 potential questions the Patriots have had. 1, it answers the question of finally needing a true wide receiver 1 that D-Hop is. That's definite. The second thing is, if you get D-Hop, you will finally probably know your answer. Is it Mac Jones or is it a very, very poor offense? None of those things happen, so once again, we're at the question mark of, is it the offensive line? Is it Bill O'Brien? Is it Bill Belichick? Is it Mac Jones? We still have a lot of questions about who exactly is to blame. Mac Jones this season has not played great. He's not played good. He's played pretty bad. But also the offensive line has been the worst since 2015. The running game has been the worst since 2015. Like these are the defense is allowing more points than it has basically in any Patriots season. The offense has scored less points.
Wide receivers stink.
Wide receivers have been the worst in separation. Devontae Parker, I believe, for his 4th straight year, is going to lead the league in the lowest amount of separation according to Next Gen Stats. I mean, the Patriots have no talent. They don't have any receivers. Demario Douglas, Pop Douglas seems very, very promising. Tyquan Thornton they missed. N'Keal Harry they missed. I don't have the exact list in front of me, but since 2010, they haven't been able to draft any wide receiver so far.
Tayshaun Boutte may be an answer.
He may be.
He needs a chance.
He had 1 catch, got popped. He didn't really play again, I would say, after that. But you know what? He looks okay. He needs to figure out how to get his feet in bounds, though. So my prediction would be, and I think this is an unpopular opinion, Bailey Zappe's not the answer. Malik Cunningham's not the answer. Mac Jones is your best option out of those 3. Play him. You don't pay him anything. Keep him from next year. If you let's say they fire Bill O'Brien next season, fire him. You bring in Josh McDaniels. I would give Mac Jones 4 games. 4 games to prove, with a true number 1 receiver, to prove if he's something or not. Otherwise, you bring in Jaden Daniels or whoever you want at quarterback, and you leave it there. I think that's my unpopular opinion is keep Mac Jones at least for next season. Get him a true number 1 receiver. Try your best to not draft 8 guys who are projected in the 4th round of the draft as your offensive lineman. Cole Strange was a projected 4th or 5th round offensive lineman. You got him in the 1st round at the 26th pick, if I'm not mistaken. Get legitimate 1st round, or if you need 2nd round prospects. Don't get 4th or 5th round prospects for your offensive line. The unfortunate thing is, though,
I think they tanked for Marvin Harrison Jr.
you don't need to tank. You're bad anyway. Like, the Patriots are trying to win games, and they're screwing that up. My unpopular opinion is keep Mac Jones at least for one more year. You have a fifth-year option. Because he's a first-round pick, you have the ability to do that fifth.
I might agree with that if they brought back McDaniels to be the offensive coordinator, because Bill O'Brien certainly isn't doing very well with it. He's doing worse than
Matt Patricia.
Matt Patricia. You couldn't say enough bad things about Matt Patricia.
He wasn't qualified. He was a defensive guy calling offensive plays.
They almost got to the playoffs with him as the offensive coordinator, with the quarterback dishing him every game.
Yeah,
I think that I think a lot of Mac Jones' problem with the Patriots is they remember that and they don't like that.
Maybe
that he dissed them.
Well, he didn't diss them. He dissed the coaches, the players.
The coaches, yeah.
The players were behind him.
Well, that's even worse.
What do you mean that's even worse?
That's worse for the coaching staff to think, hey, we've created a situation here where we're letting our quarterback diss us and the players are with him. That's not the way a team is led. A team is led by the coaches.
Well,
not led by the players.
Well, when the coach puts you in a position to fail.
But he's failing worse this year with an offensive coordinator that Mac Jones is happy to have.
Because because Belichick can't put pieces. He lets pieces. I guarantee you, this will happen. Kendrick Bourne's gone. He's a free agent this upcoming season. Kendrick Bourne is gone next season. Kyle Duggar may be gone. Josh Uche, I believe, is on a contract year. He may be gone. There's a lot of pieces that are going to be gone that people know are really good for this team. They're going to be gone. That's just how Belichick, that he doesn't spend big money on players that succeed.
Now he has $90 million of cap space.
It doesn't matter. They don't spend it. They had a bunch of cap space this offseason.
Well, I think they probably will.
They spend it on Juju Smith-Schuster and extending Devontae Parker another year or two.
Those were mistakes.
100% they were mistakes. They outbid the Chiefs for Juju Smith-Schuster. So my thing would be you keep Mac Jones. But here's the thing. Belichick can't draft receivers. For all I know, they'll draft a guy in the 4th round that was projected in many other teams to be undrafted in the draft. He'll pick him up in the 2nd or 3rd round. You could draft a quarterback in the 2nd or 3rd round. You could draft, if Bo Nix is available in the 2nd round, by all means draft him. But you're not going to start him. You don't pay Mac Jones anything. You have at least 4. If you draft him in the 1st round, you need to draft a number 3, but a 2nd round pick, you have 4 years where you don't pay that backup quarterback or a potential starting rookie quarterback, whatever the case may be. You have 1 year really of Mac Jones. If he plays it outstandingly, you may give him that 5th-year option. You may. But to say them, I'm going to ask you this. I'm going to ask any of you out there. What have the Patriots done to help Mac Jones? What is Bill Belichick as the GM and the head coach? What has he done?
The first year he had a good offensive coordinator.
Right, Josh McDaniels. I think we both know Josh McDaniels is a phenomenal offensive coordinator. But in that first year, right, was great. He bought brand new talent: Hunter Henry, Jonnu Smith, Nelson Aguilar, Kendrick Bourne. Great pieces. Outside of so his rookie year, he's great. 10-7, makes the playoffs, gets absolutely smoked in the playoffs. 2022 and 2023. What has Bill Belichick and this team done to help the offense?
Not much. Nothing.
So how can we say it's all on Mac Jones when
I'm not saying
Mac Jones is a problem? He's not the problem.
You know what? It's not all on Mac Jones, except when in critical points in games, he's made some very poor decisions.
I can't.
And you don't know whether that's going to carry over or not. I mean, despite the fact they didn't have a wide receiver one, Gesicki was running free all the way to the corner of the end zone. All he had to do was lob the ball up in the air, and it was a touchdown. In fact, he just threw it straight, right to the Colts guy. Look how open Gesicki is. Play it once more.
It's going to replay.
Look at this. He's wide open. Nobody even near him. Hey. That is bad.
I said in our second.
That's a defining. In a way, that's a defining moment for Mac Jones.
I said I cannot and will not defend that interception. I cannot and will not defend that interception because that is indefensible. But I will say this. I guarantee you, no one can name me one thing Belichick has done, in addition Belichick has made, to help the team, to help the offense. You can't name one.
You make a good point there.
If you're going to say, oh, yeah, they got who they got? They drafted Demario Douglas. Oh, so great. Hey, he's improved. He was terrible to start the year. I think he's still one of the lowest graded offensive linemen in the entire league.
He's played better the last few
He's
weeks.
played,
Yeah.
and also moving Owenu to right tackle has been great. He's been a very, very good right tackle, moving him from guard to tackle. Trent Brown, he's on a contract year. He'll probably be gone.
Yeah.
There's pieces on that team that are not set up to succeed in the NFL, especially in today's NFL. Mac Jones may be a Jimmy G. So instead of molding this team for a Tom Brady, mold it like a team that would be led with Jimmy G. You need talent. You can't put it up to the quarterback to be your difference maker. You basically have to build the 49ers. Create the San Francisco Patriots. Las Vegas built a rendition of the Patriots. Make New England create a rendition of the San Francisco 49ers. Get a bunch of talent. Let the quarterback be average. Jimmy G is an average to below average quarterback.
Okay, but how about Brock Purdy? Do you think he's an above average quarterback?
I would. How about this? Take Trent Williams out. He's terrible. With Trent, they were 100% healthy in the game against the Jaguars. They lit him up. Have a little bit of turbulence. We saw what they did. 17 points a game. The defense, crumbles a little bit.
Played very well last week.
He did, but then again, the team was entirely healthy. The team was healthy, so I'll take it. Hot take, unpopular opinion. I'd keep Mac Jones. This year's bet. I can't defend how bad I can't defend that throw was the ugliest throw I may have ever seen. I'm going to reference it right now. I think Mac Jones is broken. I'm going to say he's not there. This is a different Mac Jones, not physically, obviously, mentally.
Psyche is broken.
Mentally,
I think yelling at him over on the sidelines, Bill O'Brien yelling at him, I don't think is a smart thing to do.
He said he'll want to be hard coached. I think it was last year, week 3 against the Ravens. I'm going to say it right now. I'm going to talk about this in depth later on if we have that circumstantial topic. Week 3 against the Ravens. He had a phenomenal game. Devontae Parker was having a breakout game. Mac Jones is playing phenomenally. When he had that high ankle sprain and Zappe came in, 2 things happened. One, fans went crazy. I think fans thought it was the Tom Brady story. A first-round pick, you come in, you bring a later-round pick, and he performs very, very well. That is the Brady story. After an injury, that first-round pick gets hurt. Bledsoe was a first overall pick. Mac Jones, 15th overall pick. Brady was a 6th-round pick. Zappe was a 4th-round pick. You have that later-round pick who comes in and performs very well. The crowd thought Tom Brady 2.0, this is the guy.
Yeah.
I think Mac Jones lost the fans, which if the fans aren't rooting for you, it's basically like you're playing on the road, essentially. If all the fans are chanting Zappe and praying for your downfall, not only that, I want to see something. I'm going to show you the clip once again. Mac Jones's feet. I mentioned it, Stu, from the very beginning of the season.
He didn't step into the throw.
He's not stepped into any throw. I think Mac Jones is afraid to get hit. I think because the offensive line has been maybe one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL. It's been the worst Patriots offensive line in near a decade. Mac Jones is afraid to get hit. And I think that's because the offensive line...
Well, that's a problem.
I agree. That's because I think he's afraid to get hurt, and he's had no confidence in his offensive line to protect him. I think those 2 things make Mac Jones' psyche, at least in the pocket, he's seeing ghosts. And that's a problem. Mac Jones, at least psyche, is broken. The Ravens game, I think, was that turning point in his career. High ankle sprain, fans after that game, chanting Zappe all the time. Now every single game, it's Zappe. My take, Mac Jones is broken. All right, let's get into our picks now. Thursday night football, Bengals, Ravens, both teams suffered heartbreaking losses. The Bengals lost 30-27 to the Houston Texans, while the Ravens fell to the Cleveland Browns 33-31. Both teams looking to get back in the win column. The Ravens favored by 3.5 on Thursday night football. We finally have what I'm hoping is going to be a nice, competitive, high-scoring, entertaining Thursday night football game. And so I think right now the team who right now is on a better streak, better defense, better offense, I'll take the Ravens to win 28-24. I just think Lamar Jackson has been one of the best passers in the NFL. Todd Monken reinventing this offense. The defense is looking like the 2000s Ravens defense that won them a Super Bowl championship, basically, giving up no points. That was the Trent Dilfer quarterbacked offense for the Ravens that season. I would say you have a better quarterback this season with Lamar Jackson. But yeah, no, I'll take the Ravens to win 28-24. The Bengals fall once again to a superior opponent. What about you?
I'll take the Ravens as well, 24-20.
So there we go. There's your Thursday night picks. We both have the Ravens winning. The Ravens getting in the win column once again. But for this episode of the Harvey Hour, I think that wraps it up. We're all out of our rundown. We got nothing else left for you today. But yeah, stay tuned Friday. What we got? We got our Week 11 picks. The Patriots are on a bye, so you can't pick the Patriots and lose once again. But yeah, no, Week 11 picks. I'm sure we got some NBA. If the Clippers lose, I think they play tonight. If the Clippers lose, I think we'll be talking about them. That would be their 6th straight loss since James Harden got there. I don't know. It's looking pretty ugly. But yeah, no, we got NBA, we got NFL, we got a lot. MLB, Shohei Ohtani's a free agent. A lot of teams are inquiring about him. So maybe there's something there. Who knows? But for this episode of the Harvey Hour, my name's Nathan Harvey. That's my dad, Stephen Harvey. We are your co-hosts of the Harvey Hour. Catch us Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, right here on YouTube.
Using Wi-Fi without NordVPN could mean sharing your private stuff with more people than you think. Stay safe on public Wi-Fi. Get NordVPN's special offer and encrypt your internet connection. NordVPN. Online security